generating pleasure at an ordinary level, so they resort to extraordinary means, whether it's becoming manic in the case of bipolar disorder, or abusing substances in the case of the addict, or in the case of ADD, seeking high stimulation situations of extreme engagement to try to get the adrenaline pumping, which in turn leads to dopamine.
Right.
Substance abuse, violent behavior. The jails, for example, are full of people with undiagnosed ADD. Adaptive methods of scratching, find a creative outlet. When you hook yourself up to a creative outlet, David Neilman, JetBlue, starting an airline, me writing books, an entrepreneur starting a business. Those are creative outlets, and that is a marvelous way of harnessing the energy of ADD. On a more mundane level, physical exercise, tremendously helpful in treating ADD, of scratching the itch.
Because this, again, triggers the dopamine.
Exactly.
I want to come back to those first, but I mean, diagnosis is difficult, is it not?
Yes.
Why?
Again, difficult in whose hands? Difficult in my hands? No. Difficult in the hands of a primary care physician? Yes.
So first, they're not qualified.
Exactly,
most doctors.
and nothing against them. I'm incompetent at diagnosing cancer. You know? So you do what you're good at. But in the hands of a specialist, it's not that hard. What people need to know is that there's not a proof-positive test for ADD. If we had that, then diagnosis would be easy. You just go get the brain scan.
So it's not like diabetes. Or
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, or a tumor where you can see it on a scan. We rely on the history, and so you have to take a very careful history, teasing out various factors. But if you do that, the diagnosis will emerge quite clearly, and in addition, you'll identify what else is going on. The positives, which I think you really need to bring front and center, as well as other conditions, as the ones you've mentioned. Bipolar may also be present. You may have a problem with substance abuse. You may have a problem with depression. You may have a problem with anxiety disorders. You may have an associated learning disability, as I do. I also have dyslexia. So you want to get a complete diagnosis that includes the identification of your talents and strengths, but also enumerates the coexisting conditions, so you can have a complete treatment plan.
There is some scanning technology.
Yes.
So is there quantitative electrocephalogram? I think that's
Yes,
one.
yes.
And what does this do? This looks at the brain waves and can
the
actually...
QEEG, for short, is a variation on the EEG, the brain wave, that is a diagnostic tool. It's not proof positive. And then we have various scans. Most of them are still research tools. The MRI at the top of the list has shown us anatomical differences in certain regions of the brain in ADD. This has not become standardized to the point of it being a diagnostic test, but there's a statistical significance to these scans taken in aggregate, so we can say there's a difference in the ADD versus the non-ADD brain, but not able yet to use it as a diagnostic test. I think if we're ever going to get a proof-positive diagnostic test, it's going to come from this dopamine that I was talking about earlier, a test that measures dopamine receptors in the dopamine transporter molecule. And that may be the first real biological test we'll have for ADD as well as propensity toward addiction.
at first. You've got hand-eye coordination going on.
Big deal, though, big deal, hand-eye coordination. It is stimulating, but it is intellectually empty. Yeah, I mean, there's no ideas in it.
Diet, things like omega-3 fatty acids, very good.
Yeah, really important. And we've always known that food mattered, but we haven't known exactly what to prescribe. Right. And I have a chapter on what to. Some of it is obvious, like eat a balanced diet, try to stay away from additives. There's good evidence that junk food is bad for you in general, and particularly bad for ADD. And then a specific intervention. Eat a diet rich in antioxidants, as well as take omega-3 fatty acid as a supplement. And the supplement I suggest is fish oil, because it's very rich in.
So sardines, salmon.
Well, you have to eat an awful lot of sardines and salmon. I think you ought to get a bottle of fish oil.
A supplement.
Yeah, just like Grandma used to give us castor oil. She was on the right track. Now get, but make sure it's high-grade fish oil, because if you don't get the top of the line, you might get contaminants like mercury and other heavy. Yeah.
What advice do you give to someone who has either a spouse or a child with ADD? What's the principal advice that you'd offer?
Learn about it. Learn about it, because as you learn about it, you'll learn how to manage it. Don't despair. Don't think of this as a curse.
Or a prison sentence or something.
At all. Think of it as a gift, but it's a gift that's difficult to unwrap. And what my book tries to do is help you unwrap it so the gift can emerge. Because it looks at first like a curse. It looks at first like, oh my gosh, this person just can't get their act together. This kid can't put his clothes on in the morning, can't get his homework organized, can't sit still at the table, can't go to a party without causing a problem. Can't go on vacation without being so disruptive. And this adult is just a chronic loser. This adult just loses jobs and breaks up in relationships and drinks too much and gets into arguments, and what a waste of potential. He's got so much going for him and he never will make any use of it. So, okay, it looks like a curse, but I promise you, embedded in that, there is a gift. And if you learn how to take care of the downside, if you learn how to get focused, if you learn how to get organized, and in the case of adults, if you find ways of delegating and compensating and capitalizing on your strengths, the gift can be unwrapped. And, right. and that is the whole point of my writing this book.
I've got a magic wand here. I can get rid of your ADD. Do you want me to use it or not?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't.
Honest.
As God is my witness, I would not trade it for the world, nor would I trade it in my children.
Edward Hallowell, I want to thank you very much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.